You do not fall apart overnight. You are destroyed slowly, quietly, by habits you tolerate. No warning, no announcement. Just erosion. Stoicism was never meant to make you comfortable. It was meant to save you from yourself. 2026 will reward discipline and punish negligence. It will amplify who you already are. If your habits are weak, your future will be fragile. If your habits are strong, your future will be unshakable. This is not entertainment, this is intervention. The habit of uncontrolled distraction. The first habit that destroys lives is not dramatic. It does not announce itself as dangerous. It feels harmless, even normal. Uncontrolled distraction slowly dismantles focus, discipline, and self-respect. It replaces intention with reaction and leaves the mind scattered and weak. The Stoics warned that a person who cannot control their attention cannot control their life. Attention is the gateway to thought, and thought is the foundation of action. When attention is fractured, action becomes shallow and inconsistent. Modern life is designed to exploit this weakness. Endless notifications, constant updates, and instant entertainment keep the mind restless. You begin the day reacting instead of choosing. Hours pass without direction. At night, exhaustion arrives without accomplishment. Distraction feels productive because it keeps you busy. But busyness is not progress. The Stoics made a sharp distinction between motion and movement. Motion wastes energy. Movement builds purpose. Seneca warned that being everywhere is the same as being nowhere. A distracted mind touches many things but masters none. Over time, this weakens confidence. You stop trusting yourself to finish what you start. Uncontrolled distraction also damages emotional stability. When the mind jumps constantly, it never settles. Anxiety increases. Patience disappears. Silence feels uncomfortable. You seek stimulation not for joy, but to escape stillness. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Stillness is training. Silence is where clarity is born. A calm mind sees reality accurately. A distracted mind exaggerates problems and avoids responsibility. This habit often begins innocently. Checking one message, watching one short video, scrolling for a few minutes. But repetition builds dependency. The mind becomes conditioned to novelty. Deep focus feels painful. Effort feels heavy. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to do one thing at a time, as if it were the last thing he would ever do. This mindset creates presence. Presence creates excellence. When distraction dominates, even simple tasks feel overwhelming. You start many things and complete few. This creates quiet shame. Not dramatic failure, but slow disappointment in yourself. The Stoics believe that self-respect grows from keeping promises to yourself. Distraction breaks those promises daily. You plan, but do not act. You intend, but do not follow through. Over time, identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as disciplined. You begin to accept weakness as normal. This acceptance is dangerous. It lowers standards without resistance. Another cost of distraction is loss of meaning. Purpose requires sustained attention. You cannot build anything valuable while constantly interrupted. Depth disappears. Life becomes shallow and rushed. Stoicism calls this slavery. Not to chains, but to impulse. When you cannot sit with one task, one thought, or one moment, you are ruled by urges rather than reason. This habit also erodes relationships, half listening, divided attention, presence replaced by screens. The Stoics emphasized being fully present with others as an act of justice and respect. Breaking this habit begins with awareness. Not guilt, awareness. You notice when your hand reaches for distraction without reason. You pause. You choose deliberately. Stoic practice trains voluntary focus. You set boundaries. You decide when to consume information instead of letting it consume you. You reclaim ownership of your attention. This does not mean rejecting technology. It means mastering it. Tools should serve purpose, not replace it. The Stoics valued utility over indulgence. Another powerful practice is deliberate boredom. Sitting without stimulation, walking without headphones, eating without distraction. This retrains the mind to tolerate stillness. At first, discomfort arises, restlessness, impatience. This is withdrawal, not weakness. Stay with it. The mind adapts, focus returns. As focus strengthens, confidence follows. You complete tasks. You think clearly. You act decisively. Momentum replaces stagnation. By eliminating uncontrolled distraction, you recover time. Time becomes space. Space becomes clarity. Clarity becomes strength. This habit may seem small, but its impact is massive. A distracted life cannot become disciplined. A disciplined life cannot tolerate distraction. Fix this habit first. Everything else depends on it. The habit of emotional impulsiveness. The second habit that quietly destroys lives is emotional impulsiveness. It feels natural, even honest, to act on what you feel. Anger demands expression. Desire demands satisfaction. Fear demands avoidance. But Stoicism teaches a hard truth. A life ruled by emotion is a life without direction. Emotions themselves are not the enemy. The Stoics never argued for becoming numb or cold. They warned against being ruled by emotions instead of guided by reason. When feelings lead and reason follows, regret is never far behind. Emotional impulsiveness shows itself in small moments. Speaking without pausing, reacting instead of responding, sending messages you later wish you had not, making decisions while emotionally charged. These moments accumulate. Over time, they shape reputation, relationships, and destiny. Epictetus taught that between stimulus and response, there is choice. That space is where freedom lives. Emotional impulsiveness collapses that space. You react instantly, surrendering control. Anger is one of the most destructive forms of impulsiveness. It narrows vision and convinces you that aggression is strength. In reality, anger weakens judgment. It damages trust. It creates consequences that outlast the emotion itself. The Stoics viewed anger as temporary madness, a storm that clouds reason. They practiced delaying response, allowing the mind to cool before acting. This delay alone prevents countless regrets. Desire is another powerful force. When unchecked, it leads to overconsumption, addiction, and dependency. Pleasure becomes necessity. Moderation disappears. Stoicism teaches temperance not as denial, but as freedom from craving. Fear-driven impulsiveness is equally damaging. Avoiding challenges, lying to escape discomfort, staying silent to avoid conflict. Fear convinces you that safety lies in retreat, but retreat shrinks the soul. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that emotions are impressions, not commands. They arrive uninvited, but they do not need obedience. This distinction is essential for reinvention. Emotional impulsiveness also weakens consistency. You act only when you feel motivated. When mood drops, discipline collapses. Life becomes unpredictable, driven by internal weather instead of chosen direction. The Stoics valued steadiness. Not emotional flatness, but emotional reliability. You feel, but you do not surrender control. You experience emotion without becoming it. This habit often forms early. You are rewarded for emotional expression, punished for restraint. Over time, impulse feels authentic and control feels artificial. Stoicism reverses this belief. True authenticity is acting according to values, not momentary feelings. Impulsive emotion also damages self-respect. You promise yourself control, then break that promise repeatedly. Trust erodes, confidence fades. You begin to see yourself as unreliable. Breaking this habit begins with slowing down. A pause before speaking, a breath before deciding, a moment of distance between feeling and action. This pause is not weakness, it is mastery. Stoic practice includes labeling emotions. Instead of saying, "I am angry," you say, "I feel anger." This subtle shift creates separation. You observe the emotion rather than merging with it. Another practice is pre-commitment. You decide in advance how you will act under pressure. When insulted, you remain silent. When tempted, you delay. When afraid, you take one rational step forward. This preparation removes surprise. Emotional situations no longer control you because you have already chosen your response. Over time, emotional impulses lose power. They still appear, but they pass more quickly. Reason strengthens. Calm becomes familiar. This habit also improves relationships. People trust those who are predictable and measured. They feel safe around emotional stability. Respect grows. Emotionally disciplined people are harder to manipulate. They do not react to provocation. They do not chase validation. They cannot be easily controlled through praise or insult. Stoicism teaches that peace is not found by eliminating emotion, but by mastering it. You do not suppress. You govern. As this habit fades, life becomes clearer. Decisions improve. Regret decreases. Energy stabilizes. You begin to feel internally aligned. Unchecked emotion creates chaos. Governed emotion creates strength. If you want to survive 2026 with dignity and clarity, this habit must be addressed. Emotional impulsiveness will cost you opportunities, relationships, and self-respect. Fix it now while choice is still yours. The habit of avoiding discomfort. The third habit that destroys lives rarely feels dangerous. In fact, it often feels reasonable. It is the habit of avoiding discomfort, avoiding effort, avoiding pain, avoiding anything that feels hard, awkward, or demanding. This habit slowly weakens the will and leaves a person unprepared for reality. The Stoics understood that discomfort is not an enemy, it is a teacher. When you avoid discomfort, you avoid growth. When you escape difficulty, you remain fragile. Life does not become easier. You simply become less capable. Modern life encourages comfort as a goal. Softer routines, faster pleasure, easier paths. Stoicism stands against this current. It teaches that strength is built by choosing difficulty voluntarily. Avoidance begins subtly. Skipping a task because you feel tired. Delaying a conversation because it feels uncomfortable. Ignoring a responsibility because it creates stress. Each decision feels small, but together they shape character. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself not to shrink from the work of a human being. Work was not merely labor, but effort in all its forms. Emotional effort, mental effort, moral effort. Avoiding discomfort trains the mind to associate difficulty with danger. Over time, even minor challenges feel overwhelming. Confidence erodes, courage weakens. The Stoics practiced voluntary hardship to counter this habit. They exposed themselves to cold, hunger, and simplicity. Not to suffer unnecessarily, but to remind themselves that discomfort is survivable. This practice builds resilience. When you experience discomfort by choice, fear loses its power. You stop catastrophizing effort. You face it calmly. Avoidance also damages ambition. Goals require sustained effort. When discomfort is avoided, goals are abandoned early. Dreams become fantasies instead of plans. Another cost is self-deception. You tell yourself stories to justify avoidance. You say you are waiting for the right time. You claim conditions are not ideal. Stoicism cuts through these excuses. It demands honesty. Seneca warned that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Avoidance feeds imagination. You exaggerate difficulty without ever testing it. Discomfort avoidance also affects the body. Physical weakness follows mental weakness. When you avoid exertion, the body becomes fragile, energy decreases, health declines. Stoicism treats the body as an instrument of the will. It must be trained, not indulged. Physical discipline strengthens mental resolve. Emotional discomfort is often avoided through distraction. You escape boredom, sadness, or anxiety instead of confronting them. This creates dependency on stimulation. The Stoics taught sitting with discomfort, feeling emotions without acting impulsively, observing without fleeing. This builds emotional endurance. Avoidance also undermines self-respect. Each time you choose comfort over commitment, you weaken trust in yourself. You begin to doubt your reliability. Breaking this habit requires reframing discomfort. Instead of seeing it as punishment, you see it as practice. Each difficult task becomes training for the mind. You start small. You do the task you least want to do first. You stay in conversations that feel uncomfortable. You endure effort without complaint. Complaining is another form of avoidance. It externalizes discomfort and shifts focus away from action. Stoicism teaches silent endurance. Not denial, but composure. Voluntary discomfort also sharpens gratitude. When you experience simplicity, comfort becomes appreciated instead of expected. Entitlement fades. This habit is especially dangerous in times of ease. When life is relatively comfortable, avoidance goes unnoticed. Then crisis arrives and the untrained mind collapses. Stoicism prepares you before the crisis. You train when life is calm, so you remain steady when it is not. Avoidance can disguise itself as self-care. Rest is necessary, but indulgence weakens. Stoicism teaches balance. Rest to recover, not to escape. As you confront discomfort regularly, courage grows. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable. What once felt impossible becomes routine. The habit of avoidance slowly dissolves. In its place grows resilience. You no longer fear effort. You respect it. This transformation changes identity. You become someone who can be relied upon, by others, by yourself. If you want a strong future in 2026, you must stop running from discomfort now. Life will not soften to protect you. It will test you. Train willingly, endure deliberately, grow steadily. Comfort destroys quietly. Discomfort strengthens honestly. Choose wisely. The habit of seeking constant validation. The fourth habit that slowly destroys lives is the need for constant validation. It hides behind ambition, social connection, and even kindness. But beneath it is dependence. When your sense of worth depends on approval, your life no longer belongs to you. The Stoics warned against this trap long before social media, crowds, and constant comparison. They understood that a person who needs applause cannot live freely. Their choices become performances. Their values bend under observation. Validation seeking begins early. Praise feels good. Acceptance feels safe. Rejection feels painful. Over time, many people confuse approval with worth. They begin to measure themselves by reactions instead of principles. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to care only about acting rightly, not being seen acting rightly. This distinction is critical. When appearance replaces virtue, integrity weakens. The habit shows itself in subtle ways. You hesitate to speak truth because it may offend. You choose popularity over honesty. You adjust your opinions to match the room. Each adjustment feels small, but together they erode identity. Validation seeking also fuels comparison. You constantly measure your progress against others. Their success feels like your failure. Their attention feels like your oxygen. Peace disappears. Stoicism teaches independence of judgment. You decide what is good based on reason and virtue, not trends or opinions. This independence is strength. When validation controls behavior, courage declines. You avoid necessary conflict. You delay meaningful action. You abandon difficult paths because they may not be praised. The Stoics believe that living according to reason often places you at odds with the crowd. Wisdom is rarely popular. But popularity was never the goal, character was. This habit also creates anxiety. When approval is uncertain, peace becomes fragile. You worry about how you are perceived. You replay conversations. You anticipate judgment. The mind never rests. Seneca warned that the one who lives by opinion lives as a slave. Approval becomes a leash. Disapproval becomes a threat. Validation seeking also distorts kindness. You help others not because it is right, but because it is noticed. When gratitude is absent, resentment appears. This poisons generosity. Another danger is loss of direction. When everyone's voice matters, your own becomes quiet. You forget what you actually want. Decisions feel confusing. Regret grows. Stoicism restores clarity by narrowing concern. You care about what is right, not what is said. You act according to values, not reactions. Breaking this habit requires courage. You begin by tolerating disapproval. You speak honestly when silence would be safer. You accept misunderstanding without explanation. The Stoics practiced internal validation. At the end of each day, they judged themselves by conduct alone. Did I act with wisdom, courage, justice, temperance? External opinion was irrelevant. This practice builds quiet confidence. You no longer need constant reassurance. You trust your judgment because it is grounded in principle. Another powerful practice is limiting exposure to comparison. You reduce time spent observing others' lives. You focus on your own duties. Envy fades. Validation seeking also weakens resilience. Praise inflates. Criticism devastates. Stoicism creates balance. Praise becomes pleasant, but unnecessary. Criticism becomes information, not identity. This balance stabilizes emotion. You are no longer pulled upward by approval or crushed by rejection. You remain steady. The habit often intensifies in uncertain times. When the future feels unclear, people seek reassurance. Stoicism offers certainty from within. Your values remain even when the world shifts. Validation seeking can disguise itself as humility. But true humility does not require approval. It rests in honesty. Letting go of this habit feels uncomfortable at first. Silence replaces feedback. Approval decreases, but clarity increases. Freedom follows. You begin to act more decisively. You stop explaining yourself excessively. You accept that not everyone will agree, and that this is fine. Over time, respect replaces approval. People may not always like your choices, but they trust your consistency. The Stoics understood that reputation is external. It comes and goes. Character is internal. It endures. If you want to survive 2026 with integrity, you must break this habit. The world will pressure you to perform, conform, and seek applause. Refuse gently, but firmly. Live by reason. Act with virtue. Let approval be optional. Freedom begins the moment you stop needing to be seen. The habit of neglecting self-discipline. The fifth habit that destroys lives is not sudden failure, but slow neglect. It is the habit of neglecting self-discipline. This habit rarely feels urgent. It feels permissive, forgiving, reasonable. But over time it dismantles structure, weakens character, and leaves a person exposed to chaos. The Stoics believed that discipline is the backbone of freedom. Without it, desires rule, emotions dominate, and life becomes reactive. Discipline is not punishment. It is protection. Neglect begins quietly. You relax standards slightly. You skip routines occasionally. You delay effort because tomorrow seems available. Nothing collapses immediately. That is why the habit survives. Marcus Aurelius warned himself not to drift through life half awake. Discipline was his anchor. Without it, even wisdom becomes fragile. When self-discipline erodes, consistency disappears. You act when you feel motivated and withdraw when you do not. Life becomes unstable. Progress stalls. Discipline governs the basics: sleep, nutrition, movement, work, thought. When these are neglected, everything else suffers. Mood declines. Focus weakens. Patience shortens. The Stoics understood the importance of daily structure. They rose early. They reflected daily. They trained the mind and body regularly. Not obsessively, but deliberately. Neglecting discipline often disguises itself as freedom. You tell yourself you deserve rest, that you have earned indulgence, that balance requires looseness. But balance without discipline becomes decay. Seneca warned that luxury softens the spirit. When comfort becomes constant, resilience fades. Discipline restores sharpness. Another danger of neglect is loss of self-trust. You make plans but fail to execute them. Promises dissolve. Eventually, you stop believing yourself. Confidence erodes. Self-discipline builds identity. You see yourself as reliable, capable, strong. Neglect fractures this identity. You feel scattered and inconsistent. Discipline also protects time. Without it, hours disappear into distraction. Days blur together. Years pass without progress. The Stoics treated time as sacred. Wasting it was a moral failure, not because productivity was worshipped, but because life is finite. Neglecting discipline also increases emotional volatility. When routines collapse, emotions dominate. Small problems feel overwhelming. Minor discomfort feels unbearable. Discipline stabilizes emotion by creating predictability. You know what to do even when you do not feel like doing it. Another consequence is dependency. Without discipline, you rely on external pressure to function. Deadlines, fear, crisis. Stoicism teaches self-governance. You act because it is right, not because you are forced. Breaking this habit requires recommitment, not intensity. You do not overhaul everything at once. You restore standards gradually. You choose consistency over extremes. You do less, but you do it daily. This rebuilds trust with yourself. Stoic discipline begins with the mind. You decide in advance how you will act. You remove negotiation. You do not ask whether you feel like it. This removes friction. Action becomes simpler. Discipline becomes routine. Another Stoic practice is evening reflection. You review your day honestly. Where did discipline hold? Where did it slip? No shame, no excuses, only adjustment. Neglect thrives on vagueness. Discipline thrives on clarity. As discipline returns, energy increases. Focus sharpens. Confidence stabilizes. Life feels ordered again. You stop feeling behind. You feel aligned. Discipline does not eliminate pleasure. It refines it. Enjoyment becomes intentional instead of compulsive. The Stoics did not reject pleasure. They rejected dependency. Neglecting discipline in 2026 will be especially dangerous. The world will offer endless distraction, comfort, and escape. Without structure, you will drift. Discipline is not rigidity. It is readiness. When crisis arrives, disciplined people respond calmly. Undisciplined people panic. This habit must be corrected before it compounds further. The longer discipline is neglected, the harder it is to restore. But it can be restored. Always begin today. One routine, one commitment, one standard. Discipline is not built by grand declarations. It is built by quiet repetition. Neglect weakens slowly. Discipline strengthens steadily. Choose strength. The habit of living without reflection. The final habit that destroys lives is the most silent of all. It is the habit of living without reflection. Days pass. Weeks blur. Years disappear. Life is lived on autopilot, without examination, correction, or direction. This habit does not create loud failure. It creates wasted existence. The Stoics considered an unexamined life a dangerous one. Not because mistakes are shameful, but because unrecognized mistakes are repeated. Reflection is the tool that turns experience into wisdom. Without reflection, you drift. You react instead of choosing. You repeat patterns without understanding why. You blame circumstances without learning from them. Marcus Aurelius ended his days writing to himself, not to impress others, but to correct his own mind. Reflection was not nostalgia. It was training. Living without reflection makes growth accidental. You improve only when forced. Pain becomes the only teacher. Stoicism offers a better way. You learn before damage accumulates. This habit often forms because reflection feels uncomfortable. It requires honesty. It requires confronting weaknesses. It requires admitting where you fell short. Many people prefer distraction to self-examination, but avoidance here is costly. Without reflection, discipline weakens, purpose fades, virtue becomes abstract. You lose direction quietly. Reflection is how you align actions with values. Without it, values remain ideas instead of behavior. You may believe in discipline, honesty, and courage, yet fail to practice them consistently. The Stoics practice daily review. What did I do well? Where did I fail? What can I do better tomorrow? These questions create accountability without cruelty. Reflection also prevents arrogance. You see flaws clearly. You remain teachable. Humility grows naturally. Another danger of living without reflection is repeating the same year again and again. Same habits, same mistakes, same regrets. Time passes, but progress stalls. Stoicism treats time as limited and precious. Reflection ensures time is used wisely. Without reflection, emotions dominate unchecked. You carry resentment. You repeat impulsive reactions. You fail to notice patterns that harm relationships. Reflection reveals these patterns. Awareness creates choice. Choice creates change. This habit also affects identity. When you do not reflect, you let circumstances define you. When you reflect, you define yourself deliberately. Reflection does not require long sessions. It requires consistency. A few honest minutes daily outweigh hours of occasional insight. The Stoics preferred writing because it slows thought, it clarifies, it forces precision. But reflection can also be silent contemplation. The key is honesty without self-hatred. Reflection is not punishment. It is alignment. Another benefit is gratitude. Reflection reveals progress that distraction hides. You notice improvement. You appreciate effort. Motivation stabilizes. Without reflection, motivation depends on mood. With reflection, motivation becomes grounded. Living without reflection also weakens responsibility. You blame others more easily. You excuse yourself more often. Reflection restores ownership. Stoicism teaches responsibility without blame. You accept fault without collapsing. You correct course calmly. As this habit fades, life gains clarity. Days feel intentional. Decisions feel grounded. You stop drifting. Reflection also prepares you for death, not morbidly, but honestly. When you reflect regularly, you live fewer regrets. You speak sooner. You act decisively. The Stoics believe that remembering mortality sharpens reflection. When time is limited, reflection becomes urgent. In 2026, speed will increase. Distraction will intensify. Reflection will become rarer and more valuable. Those who reflect will lead themselves. Those who do not will be led. This habit completes the others. Reflection reinforces focus. It tempers emotion. It strengthens discipline. It clarifies purpose. It protects freedom. Without reflection, habits decay. With reflection, habits refine. As this final chapter closes, understand this. Reinvention is not a single decision. It is a cycle of action and reflection. Act, review, adjust, repeat. If these lessons helped you see clearly, if they warned you in time, support this work. Like this video to help others find it. Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and discipline. Share this with someone whose life could change. This is the Stoic Tide. And now you choose who you become.